Well, it's
You
gonna take a
look like
break.
you're done.
Let everything sit down in about an hour. Have another one.
Yeah, exactly. And then I didn't eat the bottom buns on any of them.
Really?
Yeah. Tore it off.
Did you?
Yeah. See?
Does
These
that
are
count?
all the bottom buns.
Does that count?
All right.
Does it count? What do you mean? I can't eat all that bread.
I know.
I don't have any room for it. Plus, it's not good for you. You know how much sugar, oil, all that stuff's in there?
You do realize we
Speaking
have
of
100
which,
sliders.
well, I can't eat 100 sliders. I couldn't eat 100 sliders in 3 days.
Now or in the past?
Well, in the past, I could have probably ate 100 sliders
Right. in 3 days.
over an hour.
Our daughter's in there, right?
I
Hiding.
think so.
Okay.
So, fatty liver, eh?
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do
Welcome
about
to the club.
that? What I mean, like I could tell you how to shrink it in 3 months, and it's fucking 2 months, and it's a pain in the ass. But you could do it.
How?
So basically, you're going to stop eating food. You're going to drink those protein drinks.
How many a day?
Well, you can. You would want to start out at like 3,000 calories for the say first 3 weeks. Then you're gonna cut 500 calories off of that the second week,
Okay.
and then you're gonna go another 3 weeks on 2,500 calories.
That's a day?
Yeah, and then you're gonna jump down to 2,100 calories, and then you're gonna stick there at 2,100 calories for the rest of the 2 months.
That's a lot of calories.
No, we eat. Normal diet's 2,000 calories.
Yeah, but starting off at 3 seems like above what a normal.
You need it because you're going to cheat. I mean, you're going to be hungry. When you first get into it, you're going to be hungry that first week and a half to 2 weeks.
That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, the
The
jalapeno.
paint one? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
So at night to go to bed, you're going to end up drinking another shake. And that's that other 500 calories. You know, not each shake.
So the
500 calories.
shakes are okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can, like, I would go to Costco and they sell pre-mixed little kids with the little straw or the little box. And I would, you know, you take your 3,000 calories. Each one's probably 250 calories. You set them out for the day, and then that's your first day. You know, and then you do that every day for, you know, the week. And then about a week and a half, you remove one.
All right.
And then that's your next week's worth every day. And then you remove one until you're down to you work your way down to your 2,000 calories.
And how long do you stay at the 2,000 for?
Well, if you want to lose weight,
Yeah.
you're going to kick another 500 calories off of those.
Huh.
You're going to go
So
down to
1,500.
1,500. But what you're doing is you're limiting your carbohydrate intake. And you're changing your perception of what you're going to eat. You're never going to go back to eating carbohydrates, like large quantities of carbs. Like when you get a piece of pizza, you're going to literally take the nice fatty crust part, and you're going to remove the triangle part, wrap the cheese around the crust part, and you're going to eat it. And you're going to disregard all the other.
That's weird.
But because isn't the
Well, if it
crust
keeps
the
you
crust
alive,
is the
that's
best
one
part,
thing,
right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
I
a way
guess,
to like not suffer and enjoy your food at the same time. You know, same thing with that hamburger. You don't eat. You remove when you go to McDonald's. You remove one of the buns, usually the bottom bun.
I agree with that.
You know, you get a set of double cheeseburgers or McDoubles, right? You get 2 McDoubles, and you disregard the bottom bun, and you eat the burger. Because what you're doing is you're limiting. And actually, so to put yourself in a state of ketosis, like to lose the most weight the fastest, it takes 6 weeks of basically eating protein before your body will start just dropping weight, and it'll heave off of you. But it's that after that 6 weeks that it takes, 3 to 6 weeks for most people to get into the state of ketosis, just because our diet is so enriched with processed flours and sugar. So because I had to do it when I did my surgery, I had to do the shake in order to shrink my liver so that they could do the gastric bypass.
Your
The
liver was
gastric
that big?
sleeve. Well, everybody's liver's that big, but it's because of when they put the instruments in there to do the surgery, they want to have that extra space to move the liver out of the way so they could come in and cut the stomach, and then they took my stomach out. I just got a sleeve. I have a banana for a stomach now. So I did the sleeve, which they call the sleeve,
All right.
which was awesome for me because I had like, what do you call them? What do you call those things in your stomach that burn?
Ulcers?
Ulcers.
Oh.
And the way they did the surgery, it removed all my ulcers.
Nice.
Well, that worked out well for you. Then.
It did. If the ulcers were any higher on the linings of my stomach, I wouldn't have been able to do it at all. They would have had to do the gastric bypass. I didn't want to do the gastric bypass because you can't eat chocolate cake. You can't eat a candy bar. You can't eat a handful of dark chocolate or any of that shit because the sugars make your intestines roll.
What do you mean roll?
Like roll.
Really?
Yeah, because the gastric bypass is like, this is your stomach,
Yeah.
and this is the lower part of your stomach, right, in your intestines.
Okay.
Well, they basically cut this part of your stomach off, and then they go down here and they cut your intestine down here.
Uh-huh.
And they take this part of your intestine and they bring it back up to this little small stomach and attach it. And then they reattach this part of your intestines way down here again. They rehook it up so they've moved this to here, and then they reattach this part down here. So your stomach acids and your juices and everything keep making it here, but when you take food in, your stomach's this big, and then from here to that digestion is intestine. So when you eat sugar, causes that bowel to spasm.
So you just cut out the bowel to begin with.
You what?
You cut out the bowel to begin with. That would spasm otherwise.
Well, no, they make it part of the torture. So by having that long distance of bowel that doesn't have any digestive juices in it, it's designed to make you not want to eat even hard candy. Eat a piece of hard candy, your stomach just turns. It's ridiculous. I couldn't do that to myself. I mean, like I not only did I kill my best friend and remove him, I'm like, I'm not gonna torture myself. And I've gained like 30 pounds back since my lightest, but it was still not as heavy as I ever was,
Not even close.
No.
And that's because I can eat those things. I could have a piece of pizza or two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink pop. I can't drink beer because my stomach doesn't have the expansion route. And then back to the ketosis. It's a weird state because you're removing. You don't realize how well your brain works on carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different beast. Sugar and wheat, man, is a superfood. Like that in itself probably taken us to the next level of evolution. Just wheat in itself.
So when you remove that, are you saying you get dumber? Or you just...
You do. You get like tunneled. You get lean and mean.
There's a bathroom right there.
You get like a level of anger in the state of ketosis.
How many do you eat?
I don't like anger. Anger could work for me.
Yeah, you get
You want a
short
food
and
bucket?
angry with people, and you
Oh,
just
right,
you don't want to
sure.
deal.
I have these yellow buckets you can use.
Yeah, it's a weird state. And then to sit in it for like a year, Dude, I did it for a whole year. People I was working with were complaining about it. But now, why is he so angry?
No, but it's
You're
exactly
pissing
how
me
it makes
off.
you. I mean, when you get hangry, you're angry. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, no wonder the Old Testament is as violent as it is, because that was prior to us learning how to grow crops.
Right.
You know, we were just living on, big chunks of raw meat, basically.
yeah, all protein,
Yeah.
very little carbs.
Very. Whatever the girls gathered and decided to feed us.
Right.
And I'm sure most of the men mocked it. You know?
Yeah, they didn't have many Dunkin' Donuts back in the day.
No, Spunky Dunkers.
Spunky Dunk. Okay, so you hate Spunky Dunkers.
I don't know how you can hate it.
I've never
I
been
don't
there.
hate it, but I don't like it. It's there. If I am desperate, fine. Otherwise, I don't need to be.
But what is it about? I mean,
It's a taste. It's
oh, I know, but Dunkin' Donuts is like so fake tasting.
But
right?
that's what it is. He's accustomed to Burger King and fake taste
Right.
in Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
See, what I love about Spunky Dunkers is when I walk in there, I smell real sugar. Like the place smells like real
my
sugar.
bones are running as I sniff.
You know?
Right.
It's not this high fructose corn
Well,
syrup
I don't like that
mess.
fructose corn syrup.
But
That's bad.
that's all Dunkin' Donuts is.
Well, that's all Spunky Dunkers tastes like. What's wrong with you, John?
Oh, speaking of Minnesota, you've been watching the new Fargo at all? New Fargo is good.
You know they have a Fargo show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new one's with Ian McGregor.
Yeah, I remember reading about it on TV Guide.
Yeah, the first two, and then the chick from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, she's not in there.
Yeah.
Which one?
Flowers, isn't that her name in the Scott Pilgrim?
But
I don't know her real.
what does she look like? I'm better with faces than names.
Oh,
She's like 5'4".
Well,
no, she's like 5'7", probably got
She's really
shortish
5'7".
brown hair, big, beautiful eyes. I don't know. Yeah, she's got big, beautiful brown eyes, man. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which one she was.
Oh, she was the girl that he was trying to date.
With the different colored hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The highlights,
Yeah.
Her. Oh, what is her name? I know her name too.
You have a computer there, you can look it up.
No.
Maxon. Yeah, no, I can't.
Wait.
It's her-
Wait. You gave up?
Did you
How
get
many did you eat? Was it the taste or was it just you got filled up on fries?
over there?
Oh, on the table, John.
By John, for John. John and his.
Sure, I would do that. Your box, your singular box. That's-
You know the Buffalo Grove, right?
Yeah, I do.
Do they still have auto shop?
Yeah, they do.
Do they,
That's the one
do they
question
still
he
have
has.
electronics? Really?
Yeah, an IT department.
Well, because right after I graduated,
People
I
in
didn't
Fargo.
graduate, but I stopped going to high school. The auto shop teacher got busted for drugs. He was
Really?
buying
What's
sailboats.
his name? What was his name?
I forget his name. He always talked with the list. He was about 5'7", dark hair. This would have been before you were born.
Yeah.
But he was buying sailboats.
TV
And he was
series.
storing them in the auto shop.
I was wondering what was going to come up.
Show me the movie.
In the sailboat on school property and selling to the kids.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I don't. Why is that funny?
I don't know, it just is.
It is. Yeah, I bet you can look it up on the internet and find it someplace. Huh?
That's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, they
They're doing
busted
it
him.
on the, yeah, of course they would. I mean, he was having drugs in the sailboat.
Well, that whoever the 21 Jump Street, underage cop is at the cop's head at the high school because they knew drugs were going on,
Oh, yeah.
busted his dealer who was also a high school kid.
Hmm.
And he turned on him and said,
Well, that's your
yeah,
first
the auto
mistake.
shop teacher, yeah.
Dude, that is her, but I don't know who's this girl. What do you know her name from Scott Pilgrim?
Let me see.
No.
Because she goes by like.
Yeah, 3 names.
Or something. No.
The Ramona? Wait, who?
Yeah, there was a character Ramona, but
Oh, I
Ramona
know.
Flowers,
Yeah,
right?
I know who you're talking about.
But what's her real name?
No, I asked you because I read online that they got rid of auto shop. Maybe they reopened it. So.
I mean, yeah, it's still autos going on.
They're just not selling drugs out of it.
Yeah.
Actually, now it's a chop shop.
Yeah, now it is a
Well,
job.
he was bringing in this 30-foot sailboat every so often and stored it in there for the winter.
Well,
You know what
sure.
I mean? Because he got the large, high truck doors. I mean, there's a big sailboat.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So you're in auto class, and behind you is this, like, $300,000 beautiful sailboat. You know what I mean? It just didn't make sense.
What is his name?
Mary Elizabeth.
Don't remember. I only took him
That's
for
it. What is it?
for a
Mary Elizabeth?
semester.
Mary Elizabeth something.
Winstead.
Winstead. Yeah. That's exactly who it is.
Now, let me ask a question. You guys heard of this Mandela effect?
No.
Oh.
All right, so you know how they turn that serum on? Well, over there in Europe, it's like some weird device that they created. I think it's called Sarin.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about
CERN.
Sarin.
Are you talking about the collider?
Yeah,
CERN.
CERN. C-E-R-N.
yeah, CERN, right?
Mhm.
So
We have one here.
there's there's one right below us.
Well,
Actually.
ours is puny compared to that.
Oh, yeah.
So the theory is that they turned it on and they changed the weight of one atomic molecule, and we have moved into another alternate universe, like another dimension. Like, multiverses or multi-dimensions occur simultaneously around us, right? And the multiverse, like the fact that we have Donald Trump as president right now, right?
Okay. I'm listening.
All right, so back to it. The Mandela
I'm willing
effect.
to accept that explanation.
You're right. So the
So you're saying
Mandela.
we're not on Earth Prime then?
We aren't running the original path that we were on. When they changed the weight of that molecule, we shifted into an alternate universe. We currently are into that alternate universe. Yeah, right. And
But where does Mandela come in?
So it's called the Mandela effect because Nelson Mandela.
Uh-huh.
People remember Nelson Mandela died in prison in like 1980. But now we know Nelson Mandela did not die.
He became president.
He became
And in
president.
apartheid.
Right. He never did die. But there's a whole group of people that remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. Okay? Another example is, you remember the cartoon, the Berenstain Bears?
Of course.
Okay, how do you spell it?
I don't know.
Well,
I got books upstairs.
Yeah, go get them.
Oh, you're going to make me get up.
Well,
okay.
how do you... Okay, so Berenstain Bears, right? How would you spell it? S-T-I-N, right?
S-T what?
S-T-I-N?
E-I-N.
E-I-N.
E-I-N, right?
Sure.
Berenstain, right?
Steen, right.
Okay,
Right.
go get the book.
Oh, is it I-N?
Did they change the spelling of it? Is that what you're trying to point out?
Apparently, the spelling has never been changed. It's not Berenstain Bears. It's Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain.
Yeah, S-T-A-I. Yeah.
Well, I have no point of reference because I've never read one of those books.
No, I haven't read it either. I've heard them mentioned.
So
but-
everybody remembers it as the Berenstain Bears, right?
Oh, I saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait
If
till.
someone mispronounced it, and that's how I know it. I can't.
Well, you ready to get your mind blown?
No, because I have no point of reference to this. It could have been this all along. How am I to know?
Yeah. How's it spelled there,
Look
Kev?
at it.
Berenstain Bears. S-T-A-I-N.
Interesting.
And we got all the other covers on the back here. And it is Berenstain Bears all the way back.
I left for 5 minutes.
That's just the way it works.
I'm in an alternate reality.
No, I kind of understand where you're coming from with that, but
So, there's a whole group of people that remember this is the Berenstain Bears
revisionist
with an
history.
E.
Revisionist history.
Is it?
But did someone go back and change it? Who's that asshole from
No.
the Flash that keeps going back and screwing up the time?
The dimension?
Barry.
That
Right.
Flash does that.
Yeah, the Flash.
No. When we switch to this alternate universe, in this
Then how
universe,
come my life still sucks?
It sucks.
I don't know,
Every
dude.
How come
universe.
in this universe I get double the cancer?
you got double the cancer. Too bad we didn't gain some weight.
Fuck your universe, Scott. Fuck.
That's right. It's all right. The moon is apparently an alien observation unit. It's not even the moon.
Well, did you hear what Jeff
Wow.
Bezos wants to do?
What?
He wants to put hotels on the moon in the next 10 years.
Hell yeah.
In 10 years, he wants to have
Yes.
a fully functional resort.
We have
You
all,
can do
everything.
it.
we
But
have
within
all
10
the
years.
technology. We have all the technology. We
You
should
just
have been
launch
up
it
there
in a
already.
rocket and you know, you have modules that you assemble.
Right, yeah, I agree. It would
It
have to
wouldn't be
be.
good for the environment to launch that much stuff up there.
Whatever, dude. Do you know how much stuff's up there already? It's
No.
ridiculous.
I mean, because you're burning the fuel in the atmosphere and it's polluting the atmosphere.
You're taking the oxygen in the atmosphere and using it and mixing it with the fuel. So you
and you're
burn.
burning it up.
You're
Right,
burning
but
the oxygen
you're
up.
putting lots of carbon dioxide in the air.
I know.
Well, carbon monoxide.
That whole carbon monoxide thing's up for grabs. It is though.
All right, you got a garage and a hose. Let's do this.
No, I don't disagree. I know, right? I don't disagree that pumping more carbon in the atmosphere doesn't make us slower and stupider. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Sure.
But in the whole scheme of it, we have more nitrogen in our atmosphere than anything. You know, it's like 90% nitrogen,
It doesn't react with
90% nitrogen, 6%. Yeah, but where does the
Why aren't we high all the time?
well, because we don't we are high all the time. That's why we're alive.
Take some, sir.
Okay, the girls haven't brought out one container yet.
Yeah, they did. They're all behind
One
you.
container?
One.
Yeah.
They've made a pentagram out of them in the room.
Oh, did you take a picture? That'd be hilarious.
Would it be?
Yeah, where are we at, John?
I had 10. How many did you have?
Like 6. I'm going to get more, but
And you had 5.
He had
Or
6.
yeah,
He
you
had
were
6,
saying
didn't he, Scott?
What?
did you have 6 or 5?
It's 5 or 6.
Close enough.
I
One of
got
those
an
numbers.
8.
Oh, one more. One more.
So you're not making a pentagram on the floor of your room?
No.
What's up?
All right, so back to the Berenstein Bears. Oh, sorry, Berenstain Bears. Mandela effect.
No, okay, hold on. Before we
So
get
my
hold on,
question-
hold on, before we get there.
Yeah.
Have you heard that the alleged what was it? The reports that Nelson Mandela's wife of the things that she did, the horrible, terrible, no good, very bad things that she actually supposedly people tortured and murdered and
I
executed.
remember reading in the newspaper.
As
something
when
about
they
this
were
other
president,
lady.
when
I don't know
when
if
he
she
was president,
or it's after he died. But she somehow still kept power and supposedly executed several people. Well, I'm
For
talking
all we know, they might have been really, really bad people. We don't know.
like,
Wow.
like she gave them like I don't know what they call it, the technical name. It's a type of a necktie where you take a rubber tire, put it over their head, douse with gasoline, and set it on fire. If that's not a good enough image for you, I don't know, but it's a terrible, horrible thing.
pretty horrible.
That's a bad way to go because that's a good.
It is. I've seen it in some of those ISIS videos too.
Yeah.
They've done some.
I've never seen one of those
Crazy shit.
videos, not
Oh, yeah.
once. I can't watch them.
Oh, you didn't see the tank run over the kid?
No, I haven't seen any of them. I've seen one. I can't do it.
You didn't see the Filipinos behead the German guy just like 3 weeks ago?
No.
Why did they have the drawing guy? What do you do?
They're the Philippines has Muslims all deep living in the
That's not what he asked. He asked, what did he do?
He was just in there. He was a Christian. You know, like 400,000 Christians have died in the Middle East in the last 15 years.
Yeah, but the Philippines, it's not.
I don't think it's
Don't
even
go
that
there.
long. It's not even that long.
What'd you say?
Don't
What
go
was
there.
Don't go there.
Oh,
I don't go to the Middle East and I'm fine.
But I've seen reports that say literally it averages out to be almost 90,000 a year
mm-hmm.
throughout the world, and even in South America, throughout Africa, parts of Europe, even.
Yeah, and so if there wasn't these wars going on, what percentage would it be that would happen naturally? You know, people get hit by cars, or because I would assume that down in South America it's drug lords or Aborigine, or I guess it's not it's not
It's-
Aborigine.
Wow,
the South
really?
American Aborigines are the worst.
What are the Aztecs?
I don't think they're still doing the human sacrifice thing.
How do you know? Okay.
That live
Let's
down
change the
there in the
question. If
forest.
you were to escape for some reason,
Yeah.
and you needed to escape to South America, what country would you choose, and why?
Ecuador, because you can smoke weed there legally.
Okay,
got
well, that's a
priorities,
quick
yeah.
answer.
Give you that.
Look that up.
Yeah, okay.
So I believe that if you were to legalize drugs, that within 10 years you wouldn't see processed cocaine like we do now. The only reason it's viable to process, because that's what we are getting. They take those coca leaves, they mix it with kerosene and all this other stuff that the Germans figured out in like 1901, and then it brings forth all of that pollen or whatever the active ingredients is, and then they take it and skim it off the top, and then they turn around and process it again, and then we get it in the American form of cocaine. I even hear stories about like Japanese businessmen and stuff investing money into cocaine trade just to for the manufacturing processing, because cocaine is a completely man-made manufactured product,
Right.
you know, so they need capital in order to buy the materials to turn around and process it in the processing plant and then turn around and deliver it to America, right? So you know, dude, I even think there was like what was it? Miami Vice episodes and stuff of the cocaine processing plants talking about how Japanese businessmen and all these other businessmen would invest
where did that
money
come
into
from?
the process.
I don't know.
Dude, don't give it to him. Give it to him.
Really?
Give it to Mikey. He'll eat anything.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta take care of Mikey. Okay, so real quickly, when
Right.
you're talking about that subject, I heard people debating the other day on radio about the legalization of drugs in general.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they talked about the reason why cigarettes are the way they are is because they can control whatever's in them, the nicotine or whatever, and that they can sell them in a pack of 20, and you know exactly what you're getting and how much you're consuming, and if you need 3 or 4 or 5 a day or whatever it is for you to get your enjoyment or relief or benefit out of the cigarette. So they're talking about to do the same thing with marijuana, to make like packs of cigarettes of marijuana where they wouldn't be so potent as you would buy in the street somewhere. Same thing to do with cocaine. If they were to make
Yes.
cocaine legal, you wouldn't make it so strong that one line is going to fuck you up or whatever. So do you think that would be a benefit if you legalize drugs to have regulations on how strong they could be?
Well, I think it should be registered just like the e-cigarettes are. You know, you buy an e-cigarette, you know, you can buy it with 0.25 milligrams, or you can buy it to 200 milligrams of nicotine, right?
Okay, I guess I'm not
You
exactly
know,
sure, but
you
sure.
can buy different levels of nicotine.
Yeah, well, yeah, that I know.
You
Yeah,
know? So yeah, no, that's an awesome gauge. I mean, that's exactly what they need to do. You know, the biggest problem with the war on drugs is realistically the cocaine and the heroin is such a small percentage of the actual war that they don't want marijuana out of the picture. You know, with the whole privatizing of prisons, you know, they need to put people in there. So they're constantly putting these kids in here and wrecking their lives,
Yeah,
wrecking
you gotta
the
get rid
rest
of
of
the
their.
private prisons to begin with, and then you gotta rehabilitate the regular prisons.
Yeah, and I don't understand why we even have private. Prisons should never be private. What are we paying all these tax dollars for to have this shit turned around and be privatized?
Well, I know they get tax breaks on it because I've seen a couple like 2020s.
They get straight up
Way in the back.
subsidized.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that these facilities they build, because they have to hire construction workers, you know, and they have to hire somebody from the state or the local area, that they get all these tax breaks and they get loans with very little to no interest to
Yes.
get this done. You know, and it's like, well, the prison's virtually costing them nothing to build.
Correct. Right, and the state or town that they build it in is required to keep a certain amount of population in the prison. And if they don't, they have to pay. They have to pay for it anyways.
Yeah, which that would bankrupt a small town. Yeah.
Well, the town knew it going into it.
well, and
That's all part of the contract when it was being built. That Illinois is going to supply X number of prisoners for that prison. Period.
well, it's not even that. They have to keep it at a certain level of what they call occupancy, which
Yes.
actually averages. What percentage would you think the occupancy has to average for them not to be dinged with a fine?
I think it's like 93% or higher.
99%.
Yeah, it's such bullshit.
And all federal prisons have to be occupancy of 99%.
With the hammer
Right.
and wait for some other action to be happening out of the corner.
Excuse me.
of my eye.
No, you eat that one.
Yeah.
You-
It's
I still have a double cheeseburger.
the system's rigged to basically abuse you.
10 so
Right.
far.
I mean, we're in a state of abuse. Period. You know, everything from our food to cigarettes. I mean, you can't even get a tobacco nowadays that isn't been sprayed, additives added to it, other additives make it so it doesn't burn as long. If you were to not drag off your cigarette after like 30 seconds, it'll slowly go out. None of that shit's good for you.
No.
You know, speaking of that, that Mandela effect. So, no, my question is, what is the first Star Wars movie?
It's A New Hope, Scott.
What is it?
A New Hope.
Episode 4.
How do you spell it?
A New Hope?
Yeah.
What do you mean, how do you spell it?
How
A, the letter
Yeah,
A,
okay.
space new, N-E-W, space H-O-P-E.
Right. Okay. Good. It's not the New Hope.
No, it never was the New
It
Hope.
never was.
It was never A New Hope to begin with. They didn't add that till the re-releases.
Yeah. See, that confused me hardcore the other day because I'm looking at it on TV and I'm like, why is it called A New Hope?
It was never called A New Hope until they started developing the sequels.
Right. So the New Hope is the one with the Jabba the Hutt
No, that's
Singing.
Return of the Jedi.
Jabba the Hutt singing.
Jabba the
part.
Hutt never sings at all.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is, right.
Have you seen
right.
the Star Wars films?
No, never. No. You're right. It
I know
wasn't.
you have, because you
That's
watched
right. I was watching
trilogy.
Return of the Jedi, and then I was like, "Oh, A New Hope. What the hell movie is that?"
Do you really
know?
want to go into Star Wars trivia? Because you will lose like a motherfucker.
By the way, since you guys brought that up on the web, I was,
No, I have other
on
things to worry
YouTube,
about.
I was watching a video with Mark Hamill, and after done with that one, it finds any other Mark Hamill stuff. And it puts
What
it
were
up.
you doing watching a movie with Mark Hamill?
Well, it's not a movie. It was an interview. It was like one of those in the actor's studio, only it was with a different interviewer, like in some other college.
Yeah.
And so Mark Hamill, and this is the older Mark Hamill, and he's well, no, because there's so many.
There's a younger Mark Hamill.
Yeah, in these interviews.
Is
I
there's
mean,
even
there's some
older?
before the Star
Oh, my
Wars was
God.
even released.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, he's talking and he's stroking his beard, and he seems real eccentric as he's speaking to the interviewer. And
So they haven't
he
even played the
says to
Joker
show-
for
he
the
says
last
something
15
along
years.
the lines to show you how much the amount of money we make off these movies doesn't matter. He says, Lucasfilm came around and they got him and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher to
Yeah.
sign these contracts.
Yeah.
And, he thought they were all getting a good amount of change, and now they're locked into these contracts. They can't get out of them to make some more new movies. Well, 3 weeks later, LucasArts turns around and sells it for a windfall to Disney.
Oh, does he make a
And
money?
so he's saying, if you can imagine the amount of money we actually could have approached Walt Disney for, instead of the pittance that we got from Lucas, yeah. So it seemed like there was a bit of love lost there. But he reiterated the point that it's all about money. No matter what you do in Hollywood, those studios want the most, biggest buck they can out of you.
Right. For
and
your
he's
work.
Like, they will trade you like trading cards in a little shop somewhere.
Okay, well, we weren't talking about that at all.
No, but they were talking about Star Wars, and it just
Darth
got
Vader over there is like, we didn't talk about that.
Not Darth Vader yet, but I will get the fucking voice box if I need to.
Wait, did Darth Vader have a neck brace on? Or?
He did.
He
Remember
did,
when
right?
he takes the helmet
He
off?
did.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
he's
what
like,
the bottom
"Oh,
half of
it's
that helmet looked like.
Yeah, part of his helmet. I think he pulls the helmet to cover up.
And it was bald, wasn't it? And he was a white guy, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, if you hears.
I'm not Darth Vader.
They changed.
What's up?
All these movie theaters talk about how sweet they look and how great their screens are and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, my 4K television looks way better than anything I've gone to any movie and saw.
Because it's 4K.
You're
Well-
paying for an experience.
What experience
A
is that?
shitty experience where teenagers talk and play with their cell phones. And people kick your seat. And fatties eat loudly.
Did you ever see the
And
Blob?
ugly people crawl over you
The
to
movie-
get out of the aisle.
Right.
Because they gotta go shit.
You ever
Oh,
see
don't
the?
forget you overpaid for everything.
Oh, it's funny when you
Because
go to the
$8
early
for a
show.
large popcorn is awesome.
No, I know.
Oh, don't forget the large drink with it. It's only a quarter.
They don't know it isn't. The drink itself's $4.95 too, or $5. They don't give you
Yeah,
a
but for an
drink for
extra
a quarter.
10 cents, you can get the extra large.
No, it's so funny they said that because we saw a movie today. We saw what is it, Guardians of the Galaxy with Jimmy, and I got a small popcorn, and the guy's like, "Don't you want a medium for $1 more?" And I'm like, "No, I don't, because we won't eat it," and he's like, so he asked me 3 more times before he filled the damn thing. I sure you don't
Seriously,
want the
3 more
medium?
times.
Oh yeah, the kid had a glitch. He probably drove the short bus,
Also,
rode on the short bus
that's
too.
another side effect of being in the new universe. There's glitches. It's like the Matrix.
There seem to be glitches.
People repeat, situations repeat.
Which is inevitable. I mean, we can only do so much,
Yeah.
There's no
So
deja-
everybody's going to experience that thing at some time.
There's no such thing as deja vu. It's just bad programming.
Right. Somebody fell asleep on the other side.
It's just bad code.
Yeah, bad code. There are people like Elon Musk and the billionaires over there.
You love that guy.
Elon's a good guy.
Elon's not a good guy.
Why?
Elion?
Elion. Yeah.
Well, he's not a good guy?
No.
It's
I'll give you a good example is they want to put storage batteries in your house to store excess electricity from photocells and stuff.
They want to sell you a device that does that.
Well, no. What these batteries are going to be made out of are the used batteries they use in the vehicles, because by law they're responsible for disposing of those. So
It's not true.
it is. You can only use those batteries so many times before they're not. Yeah, it is.
It's not true.
We can agree to disagree, Scott.
Dude,
That's
I know
what it is.
what they're doing. They're
That's
creating a 9-volt cell. I mean, a AA battery cell. They're mass producing it between Tesla and what the hell's the name of the company? Panasonic, because Panasonic owns the patent on the lithium production of the battery, and these AA batteries are the cells that make up everything, including the car batteries.
But those car batteries are made out of those little cells banded together into groups.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when they take that used battery out of your car because you can no longer get any usable range out of it,
Okay.
They got to do something. You can't remanufacture those like you can with lead acid. So they got to find a secondary use. So that's why they're putting them into your house. And they put them in a new box with new electronics, okay, and they're grouped a little bit differently.
But I'm
but
sure
they're
the
same
cells
batteries.
tested. They're not going to be putting like cells that are only
They're not
charged
gonna be-
80%.
Yeah.
No, because you would see it in the voltage display. You would know right away that
You're
you had
not
a bad
driving your
cell.
house around the block like you do your car.
But
so
you
they
still
can
have a
put in lesser
computer
batteries.
program. You still have a program that tells you the efficiency of the system.
This has been pointed out by many engineers ever since he came out with that idea.
But you know electricity like I know electricity. You know
I
that's
took
true.
4 years of electronics.
And you know that that's true. If you had a bad cell, you
I'm
would
married
see
to
it in the
electricity.
voltage level, right?
That's right.
You
Cool.
you would see it in the voltage, right?
You compensate. You arrange it
But
in
you would-
groups to get the voltage that you want to feed the inverters.
But you still
that
see
will up
it.
it to whatever you need for the house.
You would still be able to test that group and see that group's only putting out 13 or 12.4 volts instead of 12.5 or 6 volts. So you would know that you got a bad cell in that group.
All
right?
the cells run out of life. They're based on chemicals. They can only, supply so many ions and coat so many plates
Yes.
in their lifetime
Right?
before that capacity starts dropping down.
Correct.
Okay, and it's built into the cars that you can only drive for so long on these cells before it hits that point. However, there's still some usable life, and that's what they're going to use out of them for your house. That way, legally, they don't have to be responsible for them for quite a long period of time.
Right, which makes sense in an environmental and EPA penalty.
But they're lying about the true purpose of those storage batteries in your house.
Well,
Gentlemen, new subject.
I don't
Number
know.
69.
I
Go.
don't know. I don't know if I agree that they're lying about it or if they're doing a practical solution to a situation that they have. I mean, you want to talk about lying? You know that the car manufacturers now all of a sudden say that you don't need to change the oil in your car
Oh yeah,
for
they're lying.
$7,000.
Because that's going to be a one.
13,000.
You get that one use out of that engine for like an 8-year period, and then they figure you have to buy a new car because a lot of people nowadays are hanging on to that car.
Yeah.
They hang on to it for 8 years instead of 2 years, where they would constantly trade it in and
14
buy a
years.
new car. Well, that's us. That's not everybody.
Right.
They count on that dollar continuously coming in from you through monthly payments and whatever.
Right.
So wait,
And
so you're
once you
thinking?
pay off that car,
hold on, before we
no
get
more
there.
monthly
Now
payments.
they're promoting. Now some manufacturers like BMW and everything have been having for a while now, where you can get an oil change once a year.
Yeah.
Now they're promoting that for almost all cars
Yes.
with this new motor oil, and they say that it guarantees and lasts the car for whatever. You think that's BS?
Oh, I know what they did. They did it to change their EPA number on the life expectancy of the car because they pay a fine on every single car. They pay a fine on the potential use of oil in the car.
How many oil changes every year? How much coolant? How much brake fluid? How much transmission fluid?
They pay that fine on their car. So they've come out with higher recommendations than what we used to do in order to lower their EPA number.
So
To
they,
lower their taxable EPA number on
yeah,
the car.
what he's saying is exactly true. When I worked at Let Off in Arlington Heights, that dealership, it was being talked about there because they started coming out with cars where
Okay.
really, dude,
No, I'm just trying to see the white balance.
that's wonderful. Okay,
No, I'm doing the white
where
balance.
you
Calm
didn't
down.
change the transmission fluid for so many years, like in his car.
Right.
John got a, what year was it, Cavalier? Was it 2002?
2001.
No, mom's is 2001. Yours had to be the 2002.
So why'd you ask him if you
Anyways,
already knew?
well, it was his car. The transmission they put in his car was different from mom's. His was a 4-speed.
In
Right.
the alternate
Hers was a
universe, I had
3-speed.
2001. And this is
Okay, anyways,
Before they turned
So,
on, what'd you
what
guys
they
call
did-
it? CERN?
they didn't
CERN.
even give you,
CERN?
they didn't even give you a dipstick to check that transmission fluid. in
Oh,
this
that's
car.
correct. You're right about that.
So
They just
all
had
you
a
had
fill
was
and
a
drain
cap
plug.
to add, and I looked at it, I was like, how the fuck am I going to add fluid if I don't know how much to add?
That's
Or
right.
I can't even check it if it's dirty. And they said, oh no, it's a lifetime filter. And I said, bullshit, this is the same transmission I have in my 2002 Monte Carlo. It's
Right.
a 4265.
Right. Their lifetime is the
So-
warranty, which was probably 70,000 miles or whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
8 years or whatever came first.
80,000,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it.
Well,
it
that
was
also
BS.
goes to why they're pushing, why they're pushing synthetic oil now.
Oh, it's been almost all oil has had some synthetic version added to it to make it last longer in your car. Like
Does
Valvoline?
synthetic oil really last longer? Is
Yeah.
that really the
It's
reason?
good for a higher temperature. You got to remember how hot it gets in your car.
Okay, well, I have a different take on it.
What's that?
Synthetic oil is made out of natural gas. What in this country are we abundant in?
Natural gas,
Yes.
but it's not. No, all
Yes.
synthetic oil is not made from natural gas.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
And look it up.
And there's additives added to it.
Well,
They
there
can-
are. There's plastics and waxes and other
They even
things.
make synthetic oil out of soy protein, if you can believe
Well,
that.
that's just because they call all things synthetic. But the synthetic motor oil is made from natural gas, and it's a primarily made in the USA from natural gas. And so that's why they pushed it. They pushed it to get us off of putting crude oil.
They pushed it in the
Crude oil.
1970s. They pushed synthetic motor oil.
Because it was still being made from natural
We
gas
didn't
in
have
America.
much natural gas in the 1970s.
Somebody did because they were making it.
We didn't. All my friends
We
had
do.
electric
We make
stoves.
it.
They had electric ranges built into countertops. They had
Okay.
electric water heaters. Electric heat on the baseboards around
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
We didn't have any of that in our house, and most of our neighbors didn't on my block. But other blocks were exclusively like all electric.
But that has to do with newfangled shit that GE was pushing at the time.
Well, electric is always better than natural gas.
I happen to agree because I'm allergic to the residues and the off gassing of all of those chemicals. So I personally prefer electric stoves, electric
That's one less
ovens,
utility bill you
electric
need to pay.
furnace.
That's one less, line running to your house
It is-
underground. They
yeah.
can burst and, do whatever.
Yep.
What are you shaking your head for?
Nothing, just inside thoughts.
Well, okay,
So,
let's hear your
so-
inside thoughts.
so-
Let's hear Kevin's
No,
inside
no,
thoughts.
not about you. Not about what you're talking about. Just other inside thoughts.
In other words, bullshit. Okay.
No.
Kevin's gonna have his own podcast, just inside thoughts, and him looking at the camera going,
Kevin's like, oh
No.
yeah, Chris, your camera actually wasn't turned off this whole time.
No, it wasn't. I lied to you. It's on right now.
"It's been on this whole time."
But it's mostly been on Scott and me. A little bit you, because John's in the picture. And we want to capture him because
Yeah, but you're not broadcasting me live, are you?
not right now. No.
You have been broadcast live,
A minute ago when you asked that,
especially when
yes,
you
it
were
was live, but
ranting
not now.
with me. Of course, he was.
It's delayed, so technically it's probably live now.
Yeah, but can
Well,
you
you
see?
rant
Do you
with me,
see
I
how
mean-
many people are like looking at it right now?
I could, but I don't want to. And there's nobody looking at it right now.
Yeah,
there's
no,
no,
there
not a
we
single
lost
person.
them after the Mandela effect.
But there's no
No.
one knows about it. I didn't tell anyone that we're having this. I'm just doing it to test everything.
Oh, right. Because this is on YouTube, so there
Correct. I
would
did put it
be
on Facebook. No,
Nothing
no.
would be popping. Oh, Kevin's live on
I'm not
Facebook.
humping your table.
What is this?
Why are you humping my table? Now I have to wash my table.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, please.
You have a dirty table.
Well, to the leg. He's humping a leg is what he's doing.
Lightning
All right.
round.
Here, does anyone want to take a break?
Yeah.
We can take a break.
All right.
Take a break?
I need to digest.
Go take one of those natural killers.
So, are we done eating the hamburgers? I know you are.
Yeah, I am. I'm filled with gas.
Didn't have to actually say that part out loud. You could have just said,
Oh, yeah,
"Yes,
I
I'm
did.
done."
Still
Well, I know this guy's got issues.
Yeah, I'm gonna start that next week. I'm gonna try to go back into ketosis, and I'm gonna try to get rid of like 50, 55, 60 pounds.
No,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. I'm
I'd
gonna
like to get rid of 50
do it
pounds.
till the end of the summer.
How much you weigh?
I was 125 to 130 bouncing in there, and I dropped down to
Wait, you were what?
125, or no, 225. 225 to 230.
Fucking you ain't been 125 since you was 15.
Yeah, it's about right. No, 12.
We have
12.
Chewy. I hate
I broke it when I was about 12.
Thank you.
We have
Um,
Chewy.
All right, be
So,
good, have fun.
225, 230. I dropped it down to 210.
Remember,
And
Kaylee,
now I
drugs.
bounced back
Drugs for
up to
Uncle
about
John.
220.
No drugs.
No drugs.
No drugs.
Good drugs.
For
Just the
you.
yellow ones.
Don't get potholed in.
No nicotine.
What?
Nicotine's a drug.
Ava. I remember being there because you were doing the brakes on his car, and you couldn't get the rotors off.
It was like 2008.
Oh yeah, that was the
2009.
Saturn. I ended up taking that front spindle over to Nashville.
think it was
What was the deal? Was
in
it?
Mount Prospect, they had to use a press
They did,
to
right?
press the spindle out and then the bearings because it was all it
Was it
spun,
just-
but everything otherwise was frozen.
Yeah. And then the heat must have caused the two to just fuse.
Well, no, they were never taken off. Apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of those brakes have like a bolt that goes in the back side of the caliper.
No, this
Is
had
that what it was
well, the
just-
caliper came off, but not the disc.
Right. Because I remember we heated it up.
I
We did
actually
everything.
I broke the neighbor's. He was a mechanical engineer. He worked for the Army Reserves
Yeah.
in Arlington Heights, and I broke his Polar.
Wow.
Because mine didn't have the spread on it
Right.
to go around it, so I borrowed his. He had this giant thing, it's all steel. It's, oh yeah, you're wrenching. And I remember I've got this like 2.5 foot, long wrench handle on
Yeah.
it, and I'm standing like this because I know when it pops, it's
Right.
gonna be bad,
It's gonna
right?
come right at you.
No,
Right.
it doesn't pop. Instead, what happens is a quarter of the rotor breaks off and goes flying against his car.
Against his car.
His car, yeah,
Right.
yeah, next to us, the neighbors who I borrowed the tool from. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. You can have this back. If there's any scratches, I'll give you some money for it. I'm sorry.
Right.
You're just helping me out. And he's like, oh no. He was understanding.
I just did because I have a T-polar like that, and I just did my nephew's, and I get it all up on there, and I have like a 250 50-pound electric impact.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, "Brrr," and then I'm like, everybody stand back, you know, and I put all this pressure on it, and then slowly there, and I get to the back of it with the mallet, and I just start tapping. You know, the thing just explodes off of there because it's under all this
Under
pressure.
strain,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
But
I
I'm like,
wasn't-
that's how you do it. That's the way it's supposed to be
I
done,
took
you know?
rags, that were soaked with like 3-in-1 oil,
Right.
and I tucked them up behind the rotor,
Right?
so it would leak down into the bearing, and I'm wasting whole cans at a time. and
Right?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
No, when I put them all back on, I always put NACs on the
That's
back
what I
side
do
of it
too,
now
but-
and put it on.
He had it done at the dealership, and then it wasn't done for like another 3 years afterwards.
And then I'm exercising.
So by that time, I don't know if it's the steel that made it out of or what, but yeah, right to the spindle it froze. So.
Yeah.
Doing your arm exercises, huh?
Mhm.
That's good. It's good exercise.
You know, it's nice though. Those spindles are cheap nowadays. You know, they don't last
Well,
very long,
For his car, the bearing was part of the spindle.
Yeah.
So
which they all are. Usually, they got rid of tapered bearings and all that crap. They just have a regular sealed bearing in them now, you know. Roller
Well,
bearing.
Well, no, the
All
roller
one
bearing
piece.
is part of the spindle, is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
you're
the
just-
ABS
you're replacing
sensor.
the shaft with a little bit of a hub,
Right.
but the bearing has to be removed. You got to take the whole spindle assembly off the car, bring it to a press, and I don't have a press, obviously. And even those guys had problems because it was so rusty. So, anyways, moving on.
So you're saying
Oh yeah, look up the evolution of horses. Actually, horses started out in the Americas, and they weren't a horse like we traditionally know today.
Mhm.
They were almost like a large dog, and they didn't even have hoofs. Then they went to Asia, which they bred and interbred and bred, and we have the traditional horse that came out of Asia. And then they moved their way to Europe, and then they were bred even further. Just like dogs, we created the whole race of horses, like dogs were created out of Germany and so on and so forth. And then, some time ago, in the last 400 years, the horse was reintroduced to the Americas, the traditional horse that we see today. And there are parts that they still run wild. Like I was at the Tesla factory in Sparks, Nevada, and I come out of the gate. I'm driving up the road, and there's all these cars in front of me, putting their hands out, saying "slow down, slow down." And I kind of look, and I look to my left, and there literally is like 25 wild horses running on the side of the road, and
I'm
I was
trying to
like, "That
understand
is so
because
cool."
a couple of years ago, it was like on a 60 Minutes news program. They finally caught the last of the wild horses.
No.
Caught? No.
Even when we were in South Dakota,
They do
they
do
had wild
that.
horses all over the place.
They do that. They go out and catch large groups of wild horses and then bring them, but there's still a large amount, and none of them are wild. They were all domesticated at one point, and then it broke free and ran away, and then now they've created, the groups that they're running in now. No, we get flooded like every 3,600 years or so. I mean, the planet as a whole gets wiped, and we start again. And the evidence of that is everywhere. Our history doesn't go back far enough. The machinery and the equipment that
Great
was there.
Pyramids are 7,000 years old.
They are, and what are they made out of?
Stone.
Yeah, and you can wash stone away?
If the water is strong enough, you can.
Okay, but they didn't get washed away. And we know of land masses that are underwater now. Because in the same aspect that we get flooded every 3,600 years, we have plate tectonic and pole shifting, which changes the Earth constantly. I mean, geez, we're just out of the Ice Age. We're not even out of the Industrial Revolution or the Dark Ages. We're still burning oil. We have all of this technology where we could power everything off of the sun, but yet we're still burning oil and killing ourselves with it.
Well, you'd have to get rid of the corporations to do that, or put in one hell of a morality clause in the Constitution, and they won't allow you to do that because that's against profits.
Well, the carbon tax was the answer, but nobody has the balls to push it.
Well, since the EPA is almost all but gone now.
We have just gone back 150 years.
And that the drug.
Okay, first of all, we have not gone back 150 years. We're back down to about Great Depression.
Okay. When does the EPA start? With Roosevelt? Was it later than that? Was it Carter?
No. Actually, the EPA was Carter.
It was Carter, right?
Yes.
Certainly wasn't Ford.
No.
They used to have a 400. Well,
How did we get Ford as president?
Because
Was he the vice
had-
president?
Nixon
Nixon had to
stepped down.
resign. Yeah.
Okay. But he was okay. But he was the vice president? I thought he
Yes.
wasn't.
No,
He was.
vice president.
He was
No,
vice-
Sparrow Avenue originally was the vice president.
That's right.
And he resigned because he was going to be brought up on charges because he was taking bribes.
That's right. So then
tax
where did
relief, something
Ford?
like
What
that.
was Ford?
Ford took his place.
I know, but who was he? What was he? What was he prior to that in the
Senator.
administration?
Senator. He was a
He's
senator.
a senator.
He just got brought in to take Sparrow Avenue, I believe. I
Isn't
could
that
be
crazy
wrong.
shit right there?
Why is it so crazy? That's kind of how it works.
Well,
When the vice president steps down, another one has to be nominated. Didn't you ever watch House of Cards?
yeah, I know. But that's true. Now we got a president, Ford, that
Uh-huh.
was not a vice president candidate. Was not elected by the people.
That's the politician's wet dream.
It was.
It turns
It's
out
what
we have a
it's what
president now
Ryan
just like
is
that.
hoping for right now. Well, I don't think Obamacare is fucked at all. I think it should be left alone.
Yes.
Well, no, it should be fixed.
There's
What
stuff
needs to be
improve.
fixed?
There's lots that need to be fixed.
There's lots
Only
Oh,
more care needs
No,
to
no, no,
be
no, no,
added
no,
to
no, no,
it?
no.
What,
Hold on,
what
hold
needs
on.
to be
It's
fixed?
because there were so many loopholes for insurance companies to do certain things that it kind of screwed the entire system. Like with Obamacare right now, most people don't seem to either know or care to listen to the fact that Obamacare is failing in 11 states right now. 9 states are down to they only have one carrier for the entire state. And in fact, half of those states, that one carrier only covers less than 50% of the counties, which means if you live in those 50% of the counties, you can't even get health insurance.
Okay, but that's because those carriers have chosen to pull out.
Because that was allowed for them in Obamacare.
But isn't that how capitalism is supposed to work? Isn't that like
Yes, but even
isn't there supposed to be another carrier popping up to
No, there's
fill
not.
that
Because
position?
you're only allowed to go in one state. You're not allowed to go from state to state. There's no crossing the border.
Okay, but so
And
why?
that was
You-
put through with
Well, a lot of
Obamacare.
those states didn't have any insurance care to begin with.
No, they all had insurance.
Okay, so then really the only thing that needs to be changed in Obamacare is that the insurance companies that were existing when it was passed
Well,
are not allowed
well, the major
to pull themselves
the
out.
major
They
flaw
have
in
to fit
Obamacare was the
within
fact that people
dimension.
could go without insurance, especially young, healthy people could go without insurance. Because the whole point is that Obamacare only worked if every single able American paid for insurance.
It
They
leveled
had
the-
to.
it
There was
leveled the field, though.
No, you couldn't even have more than 1% not contributing.
Mm-hmm.
After Obamacare kicked off within the first year,
Yeah.
of those ages between 18 to 30, what percentage were what percentage who didn't have okay, first up, let's get some facts straight here about insurance, because most people I don't think know about insurance. Of this whole insurance debate, how many Americans are affected by it?
How many Americans?
What percentage?
Well, it would be everybody that is not working for a corporation.
Correct. 1 out of every 10 Americans are affected by this. Only
Yes.
1 out of every 10.
Correct.
So 90% are completely discharged. So we're talking about
Right.
that 1%.
Which are self-employed
I mean, 10%,
plumbers, self-employed
Correct,
carpenters,
correct.
self-employed truck drivers.
Well, no, but even many of them, if they're small enough company, they still get policies as a company. Not all of them, and some do. But okay, but hold on, listen.
I
so-
think
so-
you have to have 25 or 50
No, that's
people.
when you're forced to have to do it. You can do it with 2 employees.
Absolutely. Okay.
So it's your choice not to get like a group policy. So the way insurance works is all insurance works. Like even if you're in a company, right?
Yes.
They all work off group systems. Your group is judged as a group.
Correct.
It has nothing to do with anything outside of your group.
Correct.
So each of these states, they made these exchanges. In these exchanges, every state was left up to how they were going to handle the exchange.
Right, or they could have opted into the federal exchange.
Correct. Right, exactly. Which like Illinois did and some other states did. The problem with that is that these insurance companies had to be guaranteed that everyone was going to be playing ball. Okay, so back to my first question of those of the ages of 18 to 30 who were considered to be healthy young adults, of those who weren't covered by an employer already, of those who got insurance was less than 15%.
Okay.
And that's what really fucked the system. And a lot of insurers are like, dude, we're paying all this money. Because the way the system was set up is that these same people could go around living their life, paying their fines, because many of them didn't pay that much of a fine. Like,
right, I heard it, depending on if you made less than $23,000, it was like a $600 fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so what
Which is not a level of income you can live on.
Correct.
Actually, let me go ahead and tell you what I paid for my tax deduction or my tax penalty this year because I didn't have health insurance last
Right.
year.
Yeah.
$1,200. Guess how what my take home was last year, Scott?
What?
$11,000.
No, but that's not true because you had that payout. That's
No, that doesn't count against it.
I'm pretty sure it does.
It doesn't.
Okay, but that gets counted as
Okay, so
earnings.
no, I have heard
Wait,
that.
no,
I
hey,
have
whoa,
heard.
whoa, whoa,
I have
whoa,
heard
whoa, whoa, whoa,
it'd be
whoa.
$1,200.
Can I fucking talk? Because I'm going to say this once and then I'm going to go away for a while.
Okay.
Here's the problem with Obamacare. He came in, he introduced basically what was supposed to be a single-payer healthcare
Right.
system. The goddamn Republicans took the bill, fucked it, and turned it into Romney Care, which is what they were doing in Massachusetts, and they called it a compromise. That's what fucked it. The government should be running healthcare. The private insurance companies should exist. You shouldn't have private companies managing healthcare. It's wrong.
Right, healthcare for profit.
Pharmaceutical
Right.
companies
Right.
should be subsidized by the government for profits to make up the difference they're not getting. They're over when some jackass jacks up the cost of goddamn adrenaline shots, $600 a fucking needle, and that's what people depend on to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism doesn't work in that sense. You can't
Correct.
have corporate health maintenance.
Sure,
You just can't have it.
Right. I agree.
The government needs to be running it, and if you want to keep it capitalized, the government can fucking subsidize the goddamn pharmaceutical companies for their profits.
The only problem with that scenario, I agree.
And also, you shouldn't be allowed to have healthcare organizations with public stock options. You can't have them. You can't have managed healthcare and have them depending on making a goddamn profit.
Right. Well, they're actually not. They're not considered a health company. What they're considered is an investment company. And I agree. It's not right. That's not the problem. The problem is when we have government running things. That's what fucks things up. Look at the VA. That's a perfect example of how the government runs healthcare, and that's the problem. There's got to be something in the middle that makes sense.
Well, I don't know why I realistically, I don't know why the federal government couldn't make that as an option for all Americans. Why couldn't the VA be opened to the single payer program
Well,
and then turn around and
Right.
inject more money into the VA,
Basically,
which should give them better
What's gonna
healthcare.
I'll tell you what's going to happen with the Senate rewrite of the new healthcare repeal law. If they want to get it passed, it's going to need to become single payer healthcare. It's basically going to need to become Medicare, where they cover 80% of everything for your premiums, so that people can afford it. Because I pay over $800 a month
Right.
Right.
just for my premium.
I do too.
I'm one person. I don't have a family.
Yeah, right. Right. And actually the corporation that we work for pays the rest of it. I pay more than that. But yes, you're absolutely right. Most single people pay more. Most single people pay more in taxes too.
Well, he's
Right.
not working for a company, so he's paying
I am
all.
working. My company doesn't pay for it though,
Correct.
because I'm not full time, and they
Right.
only full time gets benefits.
Right.
Correct.
Of course.
You
Right.
haven't worked there since December.
I'm still working there. I'm on medical leave, dickhead.
All right.
Right.
That's what you do when you get cancer. You take medical leave for a little while until you feel better. Okay, boo boo.
Okay.
You know, it's the thing that sucks is that the way they're rewriting this next year or the year after, if it actually goes through with the way the Republicans just passed it, you'll go into a different level.
I'm
And
not
you'll
gonna
pay.
make it the next year. It ain't gonna
and-
affect my ass.
But somebody like you in your situation will end up paying even more. Currently, under the Obamacare, they can't charge you more because you got cancer. If they do this bill and rewrite it the way they will,
The way it's already written, not the way they're going to rewrite it. The way
Right.
it already is written currently.
you'll move into a different category, and all of your premiums will be raised.
Oh no, not just raised, jacked through the roof.
Yeah,
You think you're going to be paying about $1,900 a month instead of the $800 now,
if you're lucky.
if you're lucky.
But there's got to be a happy medium. I'm saying there's got to be something in between that actually takes care of the problems and helps
How
everybody.
about the
I
government
agree.
just allocates the right amount of money and not just some set budget? How
'Cause they
about
only have
doesn't
X amount of
spend
dollars to
so much
spend.
on the military
Well, that is
or
a
tax
definite.
breaks for
Yeah.
No, that's
corporations.
a definite, dude. The amount of money, dude. It's not just our own military. Like the budget, like pays for the military for our next 15 allies. On top of that,
Correct. We pay for a lot.
We,
of
you
other
know,
people's
I
stuff.
mean, it is crazy amount of money. The next highest amount of money pumped into militaries are our next 15 allies. It's a crazy amount of money.
Never read that.
Yeah.
It's out there. Yeah, it's the reason why we're looked upon in the world as we are is because of our military. And it's stupid, but that's the way it is. And because we intervene and get involved with everything, that we're everyone's big brother. And I'm not saying we have to continue to do that. And there's got to be
Big
a cheaper
money.
way to do it. But there's got to be a cheaper way to do it. But I mean, if you think about,
Oh yeah, dude. And then I don't think that you should be able to join the military at 18.
no,
No, I think it should be the same age as the president. Should be, because do you know how stupid 18-year-olds are?
that's why they join.
But that's what's so ridiculous about it. Because if we need a military that's smarter, not younger and
So
dumber.
raise the age for the military to 21.
It should be like 27.
Well, I'm saying
But you
so
start
they've
running out of
got some
physical
college,
ability at a certain
they've
point. It starts
got-
degrading, and you
you
have to.
have physical ability. The mind has to be malleable to what the task at hand is.
Well,
You're going to kill
To
people and maybe be
be-
killed.
to be broken.
To be a killer, that's
To
their
be
job is
broken,
to
to
break you
become
down
a
and
killer.
rebuild you.
Yes.
Correct. No, absolutely they do.
Yeah.
Everyone's a killer under the right circumstances.
This is true. This is
But
true.
they create the circumstances. They take
Yeah.
your psyche, they break it down. I've had a number of friends who went into the military at 18, and even when they came back from boot camp,
Yeah.
these people were fucked in the head.
Yeah, they're
No, they were just they didn't look the same. Their eyes weren't the same. There's times like they would have other cadets, like when you were bad, when your drill sergeant couldn't do certain things to you, they'd wait till you're in the barracks at night and then they tie you down, they beat the crap out of you, and you wouldn't sleep for days on end, and horrible things would. And this is the way it's done. It's the way it's been done for 100+ years, and it's the way it's going to be done for
right because
the foreseeable future.
They break you and then rebuild you.
Right,
in
to what
the
they want you to
in
be.
The killing
They-
machine they
right.
want you to become.
And then they're released into the society after 4 years.
yeah, no, like right. There's no. They don't put you through counseling.
Right.
They don't ease you back into society. There is no boot camp for leaving
Right.
the military.
And there should be.
You know.
No, and that's the thing is that, and I mean, oh my God. So I had this, when I first got into the hospital scene, I had this one supervisor or manager, I guess technically she was, and she was a real nice, sweet lady, and something seemed off about it. And then I found out very soon that she had spent 10 years or 12 years in the military, and she had decided to leave and then join, civilians again. She could not cope with dealing with regular people because where she came from, she was raised to the point where in the military where she respected her superiors.
She didn't whine.
Well, no, she did what she was supposed
Or the
to.
people
and
didn't
then when
whine
she,
at her.
and then when she was in that position, those people obeyed her, and then she obeyed the people above her. She got back to society. I'll never forget this first meeting where she was trying to run a staff meeting, and she was telling people, and one lady got up, one loudmouth woman named Lulu, who got up and said, "Oh, hell no, we're not going to be doing that." And she got in her face, and she started shaking, and she left the room, locked herself in her office for like 40 minutes. I went and knocked on her door, and she was just crying because she didn't know how to handle someone else telling her no. Because she hadn't heard the word no in 12 years. Not one time.
Right.
One way or the other.
Right.
So it's
I remember you telling me that story.
her name is Rochelle. She was and she only lasted about a year and a half, and she was gone.
She went back into the military.
I think she did.
Yeah, no, I know.
She just disappeared, but I think she went
I
back
know a
in the
lot of people.
military.
Yeah, I ran into, when I was an aircraft mechanic, I ran into a lot of guys that were basically still living the military lifestyle and mentality. And it goes all the way through, man. These,
Mhm.
these guys, the Marines would pick on the Army, and everybody would pick on the Navy, and in the Air Force, everybody was, the Air Force think that they're they are the smartest and the brightest, unfortunately, on
Sure.
on paper,
Right.
and they would all pick on each other. If it wasn't for us going in there first, the boots on the ground, if it wasn't for us going in there first and making it safe for you guys to come in afterwards,
Right.
and here, and it would get to the point you'd be out drinking with your friends or something at a bar, and the Army and the Marine guy, by the end of the night, were literally fighting each other
Yeah.
outside in the parking lot
Yep.
over who's more important,
Right.
It
never goes away.
No.
Never. Even
No.
when you're only for 4 years, it
And-
never goes away.
And I hear that is like something that goes on hardcore with these guys within the military itself.
Oh, I would have to imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a constant bickering back and forth. And as far as I'm concerned, they all serve, a destructive purpose.
Yeah.
But whose level of destruction is more important? I understand ego, but geez,
Well-
know,
You're telling me you don't call your wife mommy?
I don't call her mommy.
I do.
She ain't my mommy. I'll tell you.
We don't call each other mom and pa?
No,
Really?
no,
That's sad.
no.
And
She usually, what do I kid? I call her kiddo.
Kiddo.
Kid. And then wife. No, wifey. Woman.
Woman.
All
Woman,
of us
yeah.
call each other. Even they call me woman sometimes. But no, we don't
No,
use
we had
that.
neighbors that not only called each other mom and dad, but they also had mom and pa in their license plates.
Yeah, right. No, I don't even. My kid call us mom and dad, but they don't call us father or mommy or daddy.
don't have-
Sometimes they call me Jen, or they call her Jen, or they'll call me Scott, just to be sarcastic.
They don't call you sir?
No. No, even I'm pretty sure that my kids' friends call me Scott. They don't call me Mr. Chandler.
Our dad liked to be called, besides dad or father, he liked to be called Robert.
By you?
Yeah, once in a while.
He have you call him Robert.
We told me it was okay. That's what men do, is call each other by their first names.
Yeah, no, I don't make them call me Mr. Chandler. My father's Mr. Chandler. You know?
Yeah.
Well, my father's dead, so now I'm Mr. Prible.
My father.
There's three Mr.
My
Pribals in
father
this
is
room.
11 years.
There's only one Mr.
11
Prible.
year survivor of cancer.
Yes.
He's 0.100000008%.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Like
though.
his doctor's like, Bill, I'm gonna have a conversation with you right now that I've never had with another patient. And my dad's like, oh God, what? He's like, I don't know what to do with you, man. He's like, what? He's like, you show no signs of cancer. You're completely cured. I've never had that conversation with anybody ever. Usually within 7 years it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so far he had both cancers, small and
Large cell?
large cell.
Really?
Yes.
Now, what treatments did your dad get?
He had everything removed. So
Okay.
he had like all the cancers removed. How your lungs, you have 3 sacs on one side and 2 sacs on the other
I
side
don't
in
know
your
that.
lungs.
But, yeah.
So he had the whole large sac removed on one and then the 2 on the other.
All right.
And then every lymph node removed, armpits, throat, everywhere else they were in the body, and then and that was the only places they had cancer. Cancers were in the lungs. They removed all that stuff, and then he only did chemo, did not do radiation because radiation causes Alzheimer's or symptoms that are similar to Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And we weighed the options because they wanted him to do radiation, and my mom's like, do we really need to do radiation? If we got, like, they wanted to radiate the brain in case it went to the brain, right?
Yeah.
And they just opted to just not. do it, and then do the tests every year. You know, you got the PET scan I think it was every 3 years. They don't allow you to do that damn PET scan every year. You know, the PET scan, they give you like a sugar liquid, and you drink it, and then they take a full body scan, and cancer feeds on sugar. So it lights you up like a Christmas tree if it's in your system. And Medicare, Medicaid, insurances, they don't want to pay it. Like when they had that done the first time, they had to sign a waiver that if the insurance company wouldn't pay for it, they would pay the $36,000 for it.
That's a lot of money.
Isn't that a lot of money?
For one test.
For one test. For one test
But if
that
it keeps you alive,
definitively tells you where every bit of cancer is in your body. But yeah, we're going to make it untouchable for everybody to know.
Well, it's very expensive. I mean, I don't know what. Most hospitals don't even own a PET scan machine.
Correct.
They share.
Correct.
Like they keep them in a trailer and it'll transfer to campus. Like we have it this week, you have it that week, you have,
Right.
But it's just why is that so expensive?
Right.
Why is the machine so expensive?
Right.
I mean,
And you know,
is it made? Is it powered by Krypton, where no one can get it,
right.
except for once going traveling through dimensions or something, and it doesn't make any sense.
They're changing the weight of one molecule. Private. We have 2 or 3 private companies that launch satellites now.
Right.
It's awesome.
So who do you think is going to conquer space first, SpaceX or Origin or Blue Origin?
Oh, I think SpaceX has the money.
Well, no, Blue Origin has more money by far.
Yeah, but they're using outdated rockets. They're just using old Russian
Well, that's what I'm
rocket
wondering. But I'm saying
motors.
they have more money to put at it. That's what I'm asking.
I think the first will be a joint venture.
Hmm.
The first hotel in outer space will be a multiple conglomerate. Each company will build a wing off of a central core. There'll be a central docking core that is designed by everybody, and that's the first contract that'll go, and then every wing that blows up off of it, because that's what it'll be. It'll be some weird Kevlar blown up mod that goes up in there that gets connected, and then it just kind of goes.
no, thank you.
Yeah, because that's where we're at. We can build these materials now and weave them in multi-layered materials to
It
shelter
still
us
doesn't
from the
stop,
cold.
a tiny screw at 40,000 miles an hour from puncturing it and going.
That's
right through
that's where the problem is now. There is so much space debris. I mean, have you seen the pictures of what it looks like on space debris out there?
Can't say that I have.
Dude, look them up, dude. It's hilarious. I mean, there's so much space debris up there. Tanks, screws, bolts, nuts,
Oh, there's
wings,
middle
solar
and upper
panels.
stages from like Saturn V rockets.
For sure.
And, very large pieces up there, not just
Yes.
small ones.
And then they're breaking up and knocking into each other and
Yeah.
making smaller and smaller pieces. And so they're going to have to figure out, they're going to have to go out further than what the satellites orbit in.
And they orbit pretty far.
Some do.
Some are a third of the way to the moon.
Well, right, but they're actually talking about building hotels on the moon.
Well, right.
I mean,
right.
on the
I
moon,
don't think
physical
the
ground.
Well, yeah,
aliens
you
are
can-
going to allow that.
You don't. Oh, dude, come on.
How come the moon doesn't spin? If it collided with the Earth, how come it doesn't spin?
It didn't collide.
There's a word for it, the lock, the gravitational lock. No, that's how the moon supposedly happened. Something crashed into the Earth,
And
and
the
a
debris
chunk-
coalesced and became the
the
moon.
moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why is it almost, to us it looks pretty darn round. How come it wouldn't be more chunky and more rocky? How did it get so round? Dude, there's a whole lot of conspiracies
Because-
on the moon. How come the moon, they're tight.
Because the way gravity works, it's equal on all sides of the core. So it pulls at everything equally, so everything shifts around.
But other asteroids are not.
Because we have a moon, when the moon rotates the Earth, the closest spot of the planet Earth to the moon is the most that's warped and out of shape. Water will form, very large glumped up areas where the moon is around the equator when it's circling.
Yes.
So without the moon, the Earth would actually be more round because you wouldn't have that effect. You wouldn't
Right.
have tidal
The
waves.
Earth is actually egg-shaped.
Oblate spheroid. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and it actually looks like somebody took a couple bites out of it, and that's where the oceans fill in those land masses. If we were to drain ourselves, we would not be a perfectly spherical planet.
Well, you're talking 20,000 feet little valleys and stuff. That's not.
20,000 feet little valleys.
They are little. If you took your finger, you barely feel it. It would look like you're looking at your fingertip at one of the rivers.
What kind of hands
How
do you
big
have?
are you?
Well, no, the Earth itself is a very big planet. You're talking, small amounts of distance.
I'm confused.
I just know that
It's so round that those valleys aren't very deep. Okay, you'd see them from space, but they wouldn't look that much bigger than.
you don't think they're as big as the mountains are, but just that
They're not
deep,
as wide. They're just deep. They're nowhere near as wide
right?
because they're subs, especially the Russians. Russia provides titanium to the rest of planet Earth. They're the largest producer because they have the mines. For whatever reason, geologically, way back when, all the titanium just happened to be on that continent.
Right. Like Canada
You know,
provides
so
the
all these
uranium for the world.
submarines are made of titanium, and to top that part off, all the noses, the front pieces, unlike any other sub on planet Earth, are made of solid titanium. Like you took a piece and you milled it, like 40 feet
You would
in
have to
diameter,
mill it,
50
yeah.
feet, and it's 100 feet long. And they do that because their subs go to much greater depths than ours do.
Do you know titanium has a tensile and shear strength? Like it has to be
Well, I know it's
positioned.
got a high tensile.
It
shear
has
strength.
to be positioned in the forward direction for it. So if you were to hit something that is titanium from the side, you could snap it off.
Well, if it wasn't welded or braced properly inside, yeah.
No, it has to do with the way the molecular structures line up in it.
Well, you can align the grains with an electromagnet. That's how guns are made for tanks.
Sure, but we don't make guns out of
But
titanium.
Russia does, because Russia's nothing but open land, lots of almost free labor to their government, and more titanium than any place else on Earth.
Yeah.
Not to mention they recycle like a motherfucker.
We when we would be we would get wheels for aircraft that were made out of titanium, and,
Yeah.
and then occasionally even bolts and that stuff. We would have to drill small amounts of because the titanium would corrode. Anytime you have dissimilar metals, galvanic corrosion occurs.
Yeah.
It's because they're trading electrons.
Yeah.
And so we would have to rehone
The bolt holes?
the bolt holes and move them up to the next size.
Okay.
And then at that point, when we got to the say the largest size, say we went from I don't know, like a number 10 bolt up to 15 was the max that we could go up to.
Okay.
Right, and then each time that bolt was designed harder and harder, right? But we would take those shavings and you light a flare, and you freaking throw the shavings onto the flare, and it would just go.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I know magnesium shavings do that. I didn't know
Yeah.
titanium
My,
did.
oh yeah. Maybe it was magnesium. It's been a long time since I.
Because they make
been more than 15
they've
years.
made carburetors out of magnesium for like decades, since the late 60s.
Are we doing my magnesium?
Same thing with throttle bodies.
You know, it was aluminum magnesium, right? That's what they're mixing.
Yeah, they can make them in alloys. They do
aluminum
that with racing wheels, someone
magnesium
does that.
silica, right?
Yeah.
That's all the new aluminum motors are made out of.
Well, yeah, because it provides a lot of heat resistance.
does.
The thermal expansion is
You're right.
linear.
It was the magnesium, not the titanium. Absolutely correct. Yes.
Yeah, but anyways, so those Russian subs tried going down, and like you saw in the Hunt for Red October, they can go down to certain areas American subs can't outrun them. So you can't shoot a torpedo, because a torpedo won't survive any better than the sub will.
Oh, depth-wise, it would implode.
Depth-wise,
Pressure-wise,
yeah.
right,
So
right.
the Russian subs just sit down there, and when we're done, and we leave the area, then they go about whatever their business.
Because they're
You know?
made out of titanium, they can go deeper.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no, it's very awesome stuff. It corrodes like anything else.
And then you know
but
what?
it doesn't
I bet
really
you
rust.
it's magnesium that's directional too, just like aluminum, I don't
Yeah,
know
well,
so
all
much about
metals have
titanium yet.
directional grains, but
Right.
if it's magnetic, if it's got some ferrous property, you take a strong magnet. But any metal is actually
Bueller.
magnetic
Bueller.
if you have a strong enough magnetic field. Like
Right,
some
or
of the
charge.
ones like brass, even though brass isn't magnetic, if you had something powered by a nuclear reactor where that reactor's only job is to provide power to this electromagnet, you could then align the grains. They've done experiments, trying to direct plasma. NASA has for,
Yes.
whatever engines for space shooting out electrons, creating plasma. You got to direct it somehow, and it's so hot you just can't use metal. You got to use magnetism. You got to direct it. But the magnets, to do things like that, consume an awful lot of electricity.
Do we have anti-gravity?
I have no idea.
No.
That would be interesting. They do for small things like frogs, but it affects whatever animal they put in this like cylindrical
Right.
area within this huge magnet. It
Oh, right. I've seen it where it slows down when
yeah,
they drop
but
it through
They
there.
don't live all that long afterwards. In some
Right.
case it's only a few days because the red blood cells have iron in it, and it gets pulled in all these different directions and permeates the different cells in there, and things of that nature. Where I'm sure the frog didn't know it was in pain until it was already on its way out the door.
Yeah, right. They say that if you stick a frog in water and slowly turn the heat up, it won't jump out of the
Well,
water.
yeah, but humans will do the same thing. You won't notice it.
Well, isn't that what we're doing right now? That's the experiment that we're currently in, right?
What
with
experiment?
with the carbon.
Oh, we're talking about with climate change?
Yeah, with climate change. And has climate always changed? It has always
Yeah.
changed, right? Are we
Yeah.
only like 10,000 years or
Well,
more
it's
out
the
of the ice
extremes that-
age?
Not
It's
even.
the extremes it changes to. That's what the point is.
We're
is
still
that-
in the dark ages too, right? Like we haven't advanced past the dark ages.
Oh, I
We
think
just have newer made stuff.
Okay, Scott.
What? We still burn fossil fuels, and
We thought we had this conversation earlier
Yeah.
before the break today.
I know. I
just
brought it
like
up
climate change, conversations can be cyclical.
Yeah, right. And if you had Bill
It's the
Nye here,
Mandela
he'd be
effect.
jumping
Yeah,
up in
we
the
talk
corner
about
telling me
That's
how
a-
much of an idiot I am. As he's gang banging his girls.
Alrighty, well, I think that's a good point. Is anywhere to stop? Since we failed our goal of 100 hamburgers, I think we finished.
We didn't even maintain 50%.
I don't think we even hit 50%. So I'd say that's a big fat F.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
even make it 50%.
Are those hamburgers still sitting out?
Yeah, we'll put them. You want to take some home with you?
No.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
pick whatever you want. You want to take some home
Yeah,
with you?
pick whatever you want.
And then I'll
take
put the rest in the
Very
freezer.
well.
So yeah,
Yeah,
take whatever you
we
want.
Fine.
You can bring. I don't want to eat them, John. I'm White Castled out for the week. My liver needs.
Week? Dude, I won't eat another White Castle for like 6 months after that. Actually, I'll probably eat 2 up there before we leave. And
Oh,
then
there we go. There we go.
Probably take 10 home and let the kids have.
There you go.
Wait a minute,
Jenny
what
has
was
some
that
or 5 or
previous
6
one
on it.
that had a red? It had
This?
like.
This is just for the show.
Now,
Like a
what
standby.
produces that background? What
I did.
from what? Using what?
I got a graphic and then I threw up words
Well, where's
on
the
it.
graphic come from? I've seen it on other YouTube
I
websites. That's why
Don't
I'm
know.
curious.
It's just a generic free stock.
From YouTube.
No, it wasn't from YouTube. It was from another a producer that I befriended, and he sent me some graphics, and I like that one, especially for YouTube because it's red.
All right.
You know, if you like Facebook, it'd be
Because
blue.
I've seen that same sunburst.
Sure, I'm sure it's
used
pretty
on-
common.
Oh, great, dude. You know that you have an MMA fighter named Kevin Lee, right?
Huh?
There's an MMA fighter named Kevin Lee.
Okay.
Well, you're not him.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
my
Well,
name-
look at the bird belly. You're not him.
Okay. Why does that matter?
so when I put Kevin Lee in, he didn't pop up first.
Oh, of
Oh,
course.
is it under channels, right?
It would be under channels or people. Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Alrighty.
How
but
many
anyways,
videos do you have up?
Just a couple. And they're just test videos. But anyways, on that note, we're gonna end it.